Hello dear readers and subscribers. Unfortunately, in the past 5 to 10 years, especially using the internet as a tool, but also social media has been a catalyst, there are more and more people who are not interested in your art, but in your money. People are creating these rather unethical, exploitative business models where they are simply trying to get to the money of artists by selling them the illusion of hope or of a door opening or an opportunity or their breakthrough moment, which of course results in a lot of frustration among artists, which for instance a recent public backlash when it comes to the summer residency of Abstract magazine, where they send out bulk emails where they present it as if the artists were being invited to participate only as an email marketing strategy to have them pay an application fee of $25 or pounds or euros. But the reality is, whereas this widespread backlash on social media was new, that activity itself is not new at all, and it has been on the rise for many, many years. And it happens every single day, 365 days a year. So in this video, I want to share the 8 most common exploitative business models or ways that artists are being exploited or even scammed out there today to raise awareness, and also that you are able to identify a genuine opportunity from an exploitative business model or a scam. Please note that we're going to start with a low risk level up to a very high risk level, starting from a kind of gray zone, because very often when it comes to these exploitative business models or scams, that it's not completely black and white. Some opportunities are real in a way, but they're perhaps very irrelevant, so they're not worth it, and they are gaining money based on application fees or whatever, up to some activities that are very, very common that are outright fraud, real fraudulent activities. And for a more extensive version of this video, definitely make sure to have a look at the complete article, which is of course the occasion why I'm creating this video, which can be found of course at contemporaryartissue.com in the advice for artists section at our free resources, where we have tons of other helpful free articles for artists. So that being said, let's start with the vanity art galleries and the pay-to-play exhibition opportunities. I think this is one of the most common and best known examples, and in a way it isn't a scam, because yes, they do result in actual exhibitions, people presenting their work in real shows, of course. However, the business model is very much oriented, and also the program of the artists that they work with, on the participation fee. They make sure that they cannot lose by charging the artist enough money for them to be profitable by simply having the space. On top of that, they will also, in a lot of cases, ask commission on sales. And all the additional costs are most often at the expense of the artist in terms of insurance, transportation, etc. And we also see that whereas many of these vanity art galleries promise international visibility, exposure, a large collector base, etc., etc., very often that collector base is completely irrelevant, because these galleries do not have, they do not focus on building a strong collector base or building careers for artists and promoting them, because they're focusing on getting new artists to pay to work with them. So it kind of works the other way around, and in some cases the artist even has to do the heavy lifting in terms of marketing and communications themselves. So then the question is, why pay such an expensive fee? If you just want to show your work for once, then perhaps this is a valid opportunity because it is a real exhibition. But these venues hold no value at all in the contemporary art world. So it's not a step into the right direction for a long-term sustainable art career. And we actually see that new forms of vanity art galleries are emerging as well, or vanity collaborations are emerging. For instance, we also see more and more galleries that are actually inviting artists to represent them at an international art fair, which sounds very, very promising. Especially because these are often fairs that you cannot get into as an artist all by yourself, that are gallery oriented. However, they charge you a lot, and you also need to take care of the transportation, etc. They pack the booth with other artists, and also, to be fair, these fairs that they're in are not the industry-leading art fairs, although they will say these are very important fairs. The really important art fairs with big art collectors are the ones that have a very critical application process, and galleries that work in this way, where they send out emails to find new artists. Well, these aren't going to cut it. So the biggest red flag here is indeed that if they are actively reaching out to artists, and they might say that your work is great, etc., and when they give compliments, you want to believe it, of course, and then of course you want to believe that's a real opportunity. But if the opportunity is chasing you instead of the other way around, then that's a very big red flag and simply not worth it. So the scam level here is low because, yes, technically it is a real exhibition, it's a real opportunity, but there is not a lot to gain from it, and they make sure that there is no way for them to lose anything, and that makes it very hard for the artist to win anything. Up next, we have artist-oriented fairs and art festivals. I think this is very similar to the Vanity art galleries and pay-to-play opportunities. In this case, you can actually rent a booth as an artist. However, the biggest problem that we see here is that it is very expensive. In some cases, you even have to bring your own walls, and the quality of the amount of collectors is very, very low. There are some good artist-oriented fairs, some of the affordable art fairs, for instance, but in most cases, it's really not worth it. And what is even more troubling is that fee for your booth that you pay sometimes actually resembles the fee of an actual industry-leading art fair. And from what I have heard from most of the people who do this, is that you sell zero. So a rather troubling thing, because I also see, for instance, here in Europe, in the States, these types of art festivals and fairs is kind of a thing. But I also noticed that in Europe, these unknown organizations emerge where they rent these expo halls and organize these fairs for artists. And I think the biggest red flag to learn here, if you see these types of fairs and the promotion they do about the fair is to gain new exhibitors and not to gain new visitors of the fair, then this is a very red flag. And I see this with these types of festivals and with these types of fairs, is that they're always focusing and advertising for new exhibitors and not kind of making an ad for the fair to visit it, to come see art, to come buy art. So once more, scam level would be low because it's a real physical event, but it's really not worth it, and they're making money on behalf of artists. Up next, we have open calls that exploit artists based on an application fee. And I want to make this very clear. An application fee is not necessarily a problem. It used to be that a lot of the most important open calls or art opportunities didn't come with a fee. A lot of them are still without application fee because they are funded by a grant or an institution or a government body. But in many cases, it has become necessary because the volume of application has increased so much. So you need a platform, a software to cope with such a large number, the administration as well. So it's not that it's a bad opportunity if they charge an application fee, but you see that there are also a lot of open calls where they focus on charging a fee and actually giving as little return as possible in terms of what they have to offer with this open call. Think of not having a renowned jury, not being an art world institution, not having a physical show at the end of it, having no connection whatsoever to the art world, or sometimes just being an Instagram account or a website that doesn't even have a large following on Instagram. And these open calls are completely and utterly irrelevant. And they are just focusing on one thing, and that's collecting these application fees. So it depends very strongly, but you can kind of see, and I also have an article about this 5 golden rules about applying to art opportunities that you kind of need to be aware for. But when you see that there is an application fee and there isn't really a lot of value being brought in, or that they're not using those application fees to deliver something substantial, then we're of course dealing with an exploitative business model. The same if they're doing a lot of hard advertising through email marketing or on Instagram. That's also a little bit of a red flag, although in some cases that's still all right. So I would say the most important thing is if they are connected to the real art world, if this means something in the art world, if it's an unknown website and there is no real show, or when it's completely online, I think then in most cases it is an exploitative business model simply. So I would say here the level would be, scam level would be medium. Up next, we have online coaches and advice for artists, which is kind of funny because that's also something we're doing here with this channel. But the reason that we started doing this was because a lot of people on YouTube started requesting this. And also because it became acutely clear that there is a tremendous need for adequate advice, preferably free of charge, of course. And that the amount of disinformation online which circulates and the amount of people that are selling these false promises in search for clicks, views, and eventually also your money through online courses or whatever, it's very, very troubling. And it's really an issue that is very exploitative and that really focuses on this hope that artists have. So if you see thumbnails with big promises that you just need to do this one thing, or that you will earn X amount of money by doing this, they're luring you in, of course. And I think the most important thing here is always kind of the credentials of who is presenting this advice or who is this organization. For instance, if it's an artist that doesn't have a successful career by themselves, then it's quite questionable, of course, if they are the right person to provide this advice, if their biggest achievement is a large YouTube account or social media account, because then that proves that they're good at creating content or videos or pleasing the algorithm, which is not the same thing, of course, as being a good artist. So always check the credentials. We see that very often a lot of these advisors, or especially if they sell something, that it's too good to be true. And when it looks like it's too good to be true, it most often is. So be very, very cautious, even if you want to believe it is true. If it would be that easy, I think they would simply execute that themselves and have a thriving career and wouldn't have to bother on pestering artists with false promises to get into their wallets. And there are some great initiatives out there. I mean, I have already given a platform to, for instance, New Crits with RJ Kurian, but I think, for instance, also Carrie Scott of Scene is presenting great content, and we do every week our very best to do the same. So the credentials are simply, the most important thing. And if they haven't achieved anything relevant themselves, or perhaps just one thing and continue to focus on that, then that is a red flag and a platform to avoid. So here scam level, I would say medium. It strongly depends. There are a lot of exploitative models and also some genuine ones. Up next, we have online art marketplaces that have listing fees. And this is a quite ridiculous situation. So here they're actively reaching out to artists once more, the same sales pitch that they really believe in your art and that they want to have it on their platform for sale, and that they have a lot of web visitors and collectors and international visibility and all these rather vague promises. And then follows a fee to have the works online, which can sometimes be even $1,000 or $1,500. And from the numerous artists that I have spoken with that have worked with such platforms, they never sell anything. So it's very clear that they're doing this to actively get subscriptions and get money from the artists, and that these sales are tremendously low, of course. So I think even though they technically do provide the service, they do list the work, it's actually a very exploitative business model, and it should be avoided, in my opinion. So if you're on such a platform, my advice would be to just go elsewhere. There are a lot of online art marketplaces that do not charge a listing fee, and even better, perhaps sell your work on your own website to be in more control. Up next, we have fake collectors and NFT scans. I think this is something that a lot of artists have already encountered, that somebody reaches out to you by mail, they like your work, they want to purchase it, and then they say they want to purchase it as an NFT. Here they are simply luring you in for some fraudulent crypto transaction, perhaps to get to your bank details, sometimes to let you pay for some minting fees and then pretend that's normal. It is not. You should immediately block such an account. It's not a genuine collector at all. So anything related to that, a high scam level. The same can also be said with some impersonations. For instance, an email that seems to be from a very famous gallery director or famous artist that wants to have you in a show. But it's somebody impersonating them. And you can often see this, that, for instance, the email address is a standard Gmail address instead of the email address associated with the domain name of that institution. For instance, if it's of Koenig Gallery, that it would say christinekoenig@gmail.com instead of christine@koeniggallery.com, for instance. So be very, very wary here, especially if they want to keep it secret, this collaboration. If you have to pay something, this is a scam that is also circulating strongly the past year. We conclude with another kind of scam, which is buying fake followers and contact lists. And this is something that you especially see on Instagram through direct messages, that they promise you X amount of followers. Some claim that these are real followers. They are not. They are fake profiles, or they are bots simply. And there's no point in having these fake followers. You're not going to trick people into believing that you are established because you have 50,000 followers and you have 20 likes on your posts. On the contrary, it will even look not very trustworthy or strange. And having a following of 2,000 real followers will always be better than having 500,000 fake ones. So this is really absurd things. Never purchase an audience. That shortcut simply does not exist. And the same can also be said when it comes to email addresses, as if you can buy a network. Sometimes you receive these emails that you can purchase a contact list filled of gallerists, interior designers, collectors, etc., etc., or these databases that you can get access to. Most often these email addresses are simply available online. I mean, everybody has a website that is in the art world or has an interior design business, and they simply crawl the web, they put it in a document and they share it. If you're going to do this blast cold calling email to everyone, that's not really going to work either. And I mean, if you want to contact someone, then you can just go to their website for the email address or to their Instagram and reach out. So there's no point in selling it. Sometimes it also includes email addresses that are simply fake accounts as well. So then you're even buying, then you're just throwing money down the drain, I would say. You're buying contacts that do not even exist. And it's more valuable to have 1 or 5 cultivated contacts that you know personally and are inside the art world than having this big list of people that do not know you, that most likely are receiving a lot of these messages because they are in this list that is being sold. If you have this strange behavior also with your email address, that you do these email blasts to a lot of these types of contacts and sometimes strange type of contacts, you can also be marked as spam yourself. So this isn't helping you anywhere, especially, or this isn't helping you to get anywhere, and especially if you have to pay money for it, it's not worth it. That being said, if there are some of these topics unclear, definitely go to the complete article where I am a bit more extensive about these topics. And feel free to subscribe to this channel for more career advice for artists. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch our video on how to write a press release next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.